Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and today we're talking about Jeff Beck, and we're talking about the Jeff Beck Group. And we're talking really about the second incarnation of the Jeff Beck Group, and more specifically, this great album. So Jeff Beck was born in England in 1944, I believe. He was a childhood friend with Jimmy Page. He came up in the blues scene in London, reinterpreting blues. He was a member of the Yardbirds, and really, Clapton was the first guitar player of the Yardbirds, quits. The Jeff Beck era of the Yardbirds really is the most successful era. Jimmy Page ends up coming in on bass, then second guitar. Beck leaves, and he goes and does an album, the first incarnation of Jeff Beck, which is Truth. This is fantastic, obviously. This has Rod Stewart on lead vocals and Ronnie Wood, Shapes of Things, which is a Yardbird song, Morning Dew, Green Sleeves, Rock My Plimsoll, Beck's Bolero, It Ain't Superstitious, just classic. Of course, then they follow that up with Beck Ola. They basically skip Woodstock. To maybe their detriment, maybe they could have been huge. I mean, you have Rod Stewart as your lead vocalist, you have the best guitar player in the world. He goes on to work with Cactus's Tim Bogart and Carmine Appice, also from Vanilla Fudge. This is fantastic. But one of the most unsung bands is the band that followed that. They really couldn't get anywhere with the Bogart Appice. I mean, it's a phenomenal album if you like guitar, but the vocals really kind of aren't there. Carmine singing, Jeff singing, Tim singing. None of them have signature vocals. One of the bands that is unsung is the next band that takes on the moniker the Jeff Beck Group. This comes out in 1971. This is their first record with Cozy Powell on drums, right? We have Bob Tench on vocals, okay? Max Middleton on keyboards, Jeff Beck, and then Clive Chapman on bass. This comes out in 1971. It's recorded in London, Olympia Studios. But next in the album I want to focus on today is what some people call the Orange Album, right? Where Beck Ola is sometimes referred to as the Apple album. This has got an orange on it. And again, we have the lineup of Max Middleton on piano, Bob Tench on vocals, Clive Chapman on bass, Cozy Powell, the great Cozy Powell, on drums, who would go on to play on the definitive Rainbow Rising album, which is one of my favorite metal albums of all time. Go on to play on the Slide It In Whitesnake album and Emerson, Lake and Paul. This record is awesome. So this is the album prior to Blow by Blow, which is probably his most famous album, and then of course prior to Wired, which is my favorite album. This is, and I've done rankings of the Jeff Beck catalog. My rankings could probably change at any point. If you like, this was produced by Steve Cropper. This was recorded in Memphis. So Cropper is a Southern, soul guitar player, famous for writing all kinds of American standards in soul and rock music. Booker T and the MGs, Green Onions, you name it, he wrote it. There's collaborations in the studio with Cropper and Beck here. If you like soul, rock, kind of funky, this is one of the great albums. It starts off with one of my favorite Beck compositions and songs called Ice Cream Cakes. Tench's vocals are fantastic. Obviously, Beck's guitar playing. Cozy Powell, one of my favorite drummers. Cozy Powell's high on my top 50 drummers list, and Jeff Beck is like number 3 or 4 on my top guitar player list. Spoiler alert, I think he might be 3. Ice Cream Cakes is amazing. Glad All Over. It's a fun song. You know, again, Tench singing really well. I mean, you know, he's not a Rod Stewart. He's not a Robert Plant. But he's somewhere in that middle ground. He's soulful. There's a lot of humanity in his voice. Tonight I'll Be Staying Here With You is a Bob Dylan song that was off of Nashville Skyline. Interesting choice of song. You wonder if that was a Steve Cropper influenced ad. Sugarcane's next, which is the Cropper, Steve Cropper, Steve Cropper, Jeff Beck collaboration. It's very good. You know, this album, again, the reason why we're highlighting this is because it's under the radar, I think. It's not for Jeff Beck fans, but it is for, you know, people that just know about this, which is unbelievable. And maybe we'll do a show on this. The last song on the first side is Can't Give Back the Love I Feel for You. You know, Simpson and Ashford song with Holland also recording, writing this song. It's a great cover song, which is kind of what Jeff Beck really kind of was an interpreter of songs. He did write. You know, when you're as talented as he is, you are writing. And by the way, the album that preceded this has Superstition on it that he did help write in the studio with Stevie Wonder. He recorded it. He recorded it as well on this album, and of course, Superstition's on. Is it on Talking Book by Stevie Wonder? Anyway. He doesn't get a writing credit, even though he was behind the drums when that song was written. Flip this album over, and you have Going Down, which is a Don Nix song. It's a Freddie King kind of famous blues song. Down, 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 which is when you go to see shows, a lot of times a band might jam that because it's kind of a good workout for guitar explosions. I Gotta Have a Song. Man, another Stevie Wonder song here, and you know, again, kind of unusual, the heights that Tench takes the vocals. But then this album finishes up with two blasting rock songs. Highways, which is an unsung, deeper track on this record. And then the instrumental, definitely, maybe. Highways is a Jeff Beck composition. And I guess he's writing the lyrics too. Even though you don't think of Jeff Beck as a lyricist, but you know, Ice Cream Cakes has lyrics on it, and so does Highways, and they're both just credited to Beck. You know, definitely maybe really gives you an indicator of what's going to happen next on here. You know, you're getting a little bit into the rock fusion, a little bit more into the avant-garde instrumental rock. Again, if you like Jeff Beck like I do, if you think Jeff Beck's, you know, just one of the most innovative guitar players, this is a good place to start, you know, in a little bit deeper place to start than just going straight into Blow by Blow or Truth. These albums are both fantastic. Anyway, check out my channel. We do shows every single day. Peace out. Catch you.